Welcome to the Captain's Run with myself and the great Cameron Smith. What a show we have planned for you guys. How have you been, mate? How's your week?
Really good, really good. It's obviously been in camp with the Queensland side, and it's gone fast. Short preparation for this one, Kempy. Very different to the first one.
Yep.
Nice little ease in, and first couple of days, just get a few of the formalities out the way with the media and headshots and all these type of stuff. A few sponsor commitments. This one though, it's jumped up on me really quickly.
Yeah,
really quickly. But I'll tell you what, the boys have been fantastic. They've been bouncing around training, which is great to see. Must be difficult this way. In my Origin career, I never had to contend with the week, the Sunday game.
Oh,
so
really?
Only the week preparation. It was always Wednesday.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, always
okay.
Wednesday. So it was always a 10-day lead-in to the game, which in some ways was a little bit detrimental because Alfie Langer would get a hold of us every game.
That's probably why they created the Sunday game, because Alfie kept tearing the boys apart.
Possibly. That might have been one of the QRL's idea. Can we get this bloke out of here? No. He's got a hold of a few staff members. So he's left the players alone this camp, but he's got a few.
And the staff members are rolling in with their sunnies on. They're a little bit dusty, a little bit croaky, the boys.
Can I name a couple?
If you want, mate, I'm here for it.
Maybe Thurston.
Oh, the great Thurston.
Inglis.
Oh, no, GI as well. Mate, how good.
But anyway, But when we've been at work, it's work. It's been great. So no, they're ready. We had 3 players come out of a Sunday match. So Gagai, Papali'i, and Kalen Ponga.
Yeah.
So they eased into it. They didn't do a whole heap on Monday, having played the day before. They ramped things up a little bit Tuesday, and yesterday it was all hands on deck, and they trained really well. So
how's KP? Is he sweet?
And he's good.
Yeah, okay.
He's
he
good.
got banged up.
He
Sunday.
did.
Yeah.
And it's a tough position, fullback.
Yeah.
Like we talk about, the guys in the middle and they're big bodies and there's a lot of collision and all that sort of stuff. But it's a tough position playing fullback now. Like getting kick reception and then bringing the ball back, and you've just got a wall of people in front of you looking to just rough you up.
Yeah.
Particularly when you're like a caliber of player like Kalen Ponga.
Absolutely.
They're just trying to make things uncomfortable for you. But he's been fantastic. Like, Billy and the rest of the staff, particularly the high performance guys, they've been trying to put him in a bit of cotton wool, but he's just like, no, I'm good. Leave me alone. I'm here to train. So
that's a side of Kalen I think a lot of fans don't really know, that he's he's really
committed
to his
absolutely
his role and improving as well. I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And having Bill as his coach too, like just wanting to learn off him and. Someone asked me the other day, and because Reece Walsh is in camp too for this one, so he's in the 22-man squad. Someone asked me the other day, like, are they just like Billy's shadows? Are they just following him around? I said, actually, I think it might be the other way around. I think Billy won't leave those two alone, only because like he's just trying to make them better players, and so hopefully when they're playing for Queensland or going back to their clubs, they're better players, and then it's only going to help themselves, but help Queensland also.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I want to talk about, because it's really interesting. There's 2 parts of Origin. When you're in camp, you're in this little bubble. It's just like Origin. When you're out and you're a fan, it's like turmoil, huge changes. Freddie's made this, Freddie's made that. We're all talking about it. I'm talking about it for 3 hours every day. But in camp, are you kind of isolated? Is it not really going to seep in?
No, to be honest, it hasn't really had a huge impact on our preparation. Sure, there's new faces in the Blues team. So we have to talk about that early, identify who we're actually coming up against. But as far as our preparation goes, it hasn't had a huge impact on what we're trying to do. No, not at all. And a similar build-up to the first game. We didn't spend a whole lot of time on the Blues.
Yeah.
We had to be aware of who we're facing and some of the strengths they were going to bring to the game. But it was mainly about our footy side and making sure that what we plan to do and our game plan that we implemented to make sure that everyone knew exactly what their role was in that.
Yeah.
Same thing this time. It's a short, as I spoke about before, short preparation. If you spent majority of your time of your day talking about the opposition and the changes they've made and whatnot, all of a sudden the game will be on top of you, and you've had no time to worry about yourself.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, the New South Wales side, though, we have to talk about it.
Okay.
Because you can take your coach hat off, and now you can be the radio pundit. The radio pundit. But there have been, mass changes. Obviously, Wyden is unavailable with COVID, so hopefully he recovers well. Katoni Staggs, Sims, Madison, Campbell-Gillard have all been replaced in the side.
Yep.
With Matt Burton into debut. Crichton, it isn't technically his debut, but I still consider it his debut because it's his starting.
Yes.
It's a very different beast because I've played a few Origins in my time.
Yep.
So I know what it's like. Appy Coruscant. Appy Coruscant, Jake Trbojevic, Angus Crichton, and Talakai all move into the side. And then Cook has been put to the bench with Appy to start.
Yep.
Let's go straight off the bat with the Cook to the bench, Appy to start. Now, I personally believe they looked at how well Queensland went.
Yep.
And said, look, it's tried and true.
Yep.
It's the way we've done it for so long. Let's do it that way too.
Yep.
Now, obviously, I've got no evidence of that. I'm just making assumptions. I will also say, and it's a good point that you brought up, that Ben Hunt and Grant are worlds different to Appy and Cook. So it's not a like for like. But
No.
I guess, what was your perspective as the best hooker to ever play the game to see this change?
I totally agree. I think they seen the way that interchange worked with the Maroons in game one and thought, well, I think let's go down the similar path. I was a little bit surprised that Appy didn't. Well, he didn't sort of feature for game one either.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I actually thought they were going to go down that path of maybe carrying another hooker on the footy side. They went Stephen Crichton instead. So I wasn't overly surprised at all that this change was made, particularly when you've got so many key players in the Blues side that play for Penrith.
Yeah.
It's just a seamless change for mine. And, I think what they're going to be doing is getting Appy to get out and ask questions early of the Queensland defence.
Yeah.
Of particularly the markers, just to see how well they are on their game. Any half opportunity that he has, he'll be out and attacking Queensland's line.
Yeah.
Defensive line.
Yeah.
And he's got a really, really strong combination with Isaiah Yeo and Nathan Cleary. And he loves running off the back of Brian To'o's quick play the balls.
Yeah, okay.
And he was very good in game one, Brian To'o.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? He had a great ability to, he made himself. He's hard to tackle at the best of times, but he made himself really awkward to get a hold of. He played the ball quickly. So Appy, any opportunity he gets off the back of Brian To'o, he's going to be running.
Yeah.
So that's one area that we've spoken about and identified, which is a fairly significant change for them with Damien Cook. And I thought he actually played strongly in game one.
54 tackles, no misses.
Yeah, that's right. And we spoke about that in our review of the first Origin. He was really strong, but he's just a different style of player in attack. Like his strength is running.
Yeah.
He's not so much of a ball player, schemer. He doesn't have as much craft as an Appy Coruscant. And when I talk about craft, I mean, playing with tempo, running quickly, running slowly, toying with markers. He doesn't really have that in his game, whereas Appy does. So I think they're just looking for a little bit of a point of difference in the start of that match. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Cookie come on, late in the first half.
Okay.
Just to give him a crack at
so
some
you
of the tiring players in the Queensland defensive line.
So do you reckon it will be 2 stints and they'll use 2 interchanges, or do you think they'll go Appy for 50 and then Cook last 30?
Well, it'll all depend on the game, Kempy, and the way the game's going. If things are going really well for New South Wales, then you don't make a change. But if something needs to happen, then Damien Cook is a perfect player to come on and have a point of difference as far as his speed out of dummy half, his ability to just put the Queensland defence on the back foot. But at the same time, as I said, if things are going really well for New South Wales and they're in control of the game, he won't get on until the second half.
Yeah.
Unless Appy blows out.
Which, I mean, it's pretty much his debut starting, I think.
I think, yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see the pace, how well. I think Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder that is something that they will have to contest with in such a key position where the work rate is
it's high.
The highest probably.
Yeah. Yeah, and he'll be making plenty of tackles. Not that he's been made a target for Queensland, but just generally most number 9s, they make the most tackles.
Yeah.
So, he's going to be having plenty of traffic in and around him, Appy, defensively. So it's really, again, you can plan for these interchanges to happen and say, we want to get Cookie on at the 30th minute or maybe at 5 minutes before half time. But if you're travelling well and Appy's good, then you leave him out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be interesting to see the smoothness difference. Sounds weird. Sounds really weird.
Yeah,
but the smoothness of
the change.
Like, will they be as smooth as Penrith? Now, there's so much more to going forward sets than just the hooker and the number 7. Your forwards have to run the right lines. They've got to be either deep if they need to be deep, flat if they need to be flat. But I do wonder if that first 20 is going to look a lot more structured per se. Yeah. Because Appy is there.
Yeah. Oh, look, I think it'll be a seamless transition. I believe that, which means Queensland's defence has to be on defensively. Yeah, and that's the reason why Appy's been brought in, is because of the combination and the relationship he shares, in particular with Isaiah Yeo and Nathan Cleary. They have an understanding of each other. They play really well together for Penrith, and if I'm the coach of the Blues, I'm asking those 3 players to bring that to the New South Wales side.
It's now it's not the only change. It's not the only change. Really interesting. I thought, to be honest, I really didn't think Madison or Campbell Gillard played that poorly. Yeah. Now I understand
RCG was strong.
I thought he was quite strong. Yeah. I thought he was quite good actually. But I think it's a different. What's interesting is that Jake Trbojevic not only comes into the squad, not only comes onto the bench, he comes into starting. Yep. It's a very, very different. I guess. Jake Trbojevic is more of a defensive player now, whereas I'd say RCG, he's got a bit of both, but I would say attacking-wise, he's probably a bit more explosive than Jake Trbojevic.
Yeah, but Jake's got a lot. He's got a bit of ball playing in him too. Yeah. So he plays that style of footy for Manly. Like he's got a pretty. He's a strong guy. Like for a guy that plays in the middle, that's not as big as those other guys that we're talking about, but he carries the ball strongly and he's got a pass in him. So it's just another thing that Queensland need to think about. Yeah. And again, and I'm not at all suggesting that New South Wales are trying to emulate Queensland from game one or copy Queensland's sort of selection. But I think they've gone down the line of having players in there a little bit more nimble, a little bit more light-footed in and around the ruck. Yeah, okay. Just so they can be a bit more agile defensively. That's what I believe. Yeah. And it's a good move. Like Jake Trbojevic, there was a lot of people up in arms about him not being there for game one. Yeah. So I'm not at all surprised that he's there for game two.
And now onto the debut guy. The debutant, Matty Burton. Really, first of all, massive congratulations to Matty Burton.
Huge.
But
and deserves it. He's been playing really well. Yeah. Not just this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I've loved about this year is that it didn't start great for him at all. He was struggling. And then he's just turned it around. He's got his confidence back and he's playing with, a mountain of confidence. But do you envision them using him for kicking because there was so much pressure on Cleary?
I got no doubt at all that they'll use him at some stage. Whether it be as an alternate kicker or whether it be just to get him in there to toss up one of his towering bombs. His spiral bomb, floater bomb.
Nightmare ball.
Just a normal one. Just even just your regular end-over-end bomb that he can toss up and just put the Queensland back three under a lot of pressure. I've got no doubt at all that he'll be used up. I wouldn't be surprised if they throw him the first ball to kick.
Yeah, just to get it out of the way. Boom. That's setting the tone.
Just to bang one down there and put Queensland under pressure.
It's going to be interesting to see, how does Queensland combat that? Because if you've got both sides kick chasing or kick pressuring hard, like let's say Cleary's on one side, the other side is Burton. Yep. You've gone from, say, having 2 players kick pressuring to 4 players kick pressuring. That's a lot of legwork. That's a lot of extra efforts.
Yeah, it is. But it's just awareness. It really just you need to be aware. Like it's state of origin. It's the showpiece of our game. It's the elite versus the elite. So it's all about awareness. It's not the game's not just about bodies and physicality. It's about using your eyes and using your brains. So if Matt Burton is in and around the football on fourth or fifth tackle, then you need to be aware that there's a highly likely that, or there's every likelihood that he'll receive the ball to kick. So we need to be out there and putting pressure on him.
And isn't he? He's the only bloke with a headgear as well. So it's like, bro, deal with the headgear in the middle. Pretty sure it's Burton. Please kick pressure.
They should be able to pick him out.
Yeah. It's not going to blur into the background.
No, that's right. If any chance, can you paint it orange or something? Please?
Big orange.
Make it a bit easier for the Queenslanders to see.
Now, Burton obviously he's got the kicking game. Do you envision him as well helping with the ball playing duties at all, playing a bit of a roaming centre role, or not really?
Well, he's got that ability, so they can mix it up a bit if they want to. Even if he and Luai want to, swap spots every now and again, just to change it up, something different for the Queensland defensive line to look at. They've certainly got that ability, but I reckon on the most part he'll play out in the centres.
Yeah.
But you got to be prepared for everything, Kempy. You can prepare for all of these things to happen, and then game day something else changes. It's like game one. So we get there expecting to see a starting forward pack, and then they swap two players. Like I think they changed Junior Bolo
and
Murray from the starting side, and they put in RCG and Liam Martin. So you just got to be ready. And to be fair, they're things you can't control. So you, particularly in high stakes footy like State of Origin, you worry about the things you can control, and the things you can control is your own team and your own performance.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, lastly, Angus Crichton on the bench. Really interesting selection because you would almost say, could he start? But he's gone with Liam Martin and Cam Murray. I will say Cam Murray, Liam Martin, not the biggest wide running forwards.
Yep.
But they're probably, you could argue, the best laterally, or at least in the top tier of good lateral.
Defensive players.
Good lateral defensive players, really good at running lines, usually have quick play the balls. Do you see Crichton being brought on the edge or in the middle?
Oh, on the edge. Yeah, I think on the edge. I don't think we'll see Cam Murray play an entire game on an edge.
Okay.
I think he'll have a stint there early and then move into the ruck.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
that's what I think. But again, I'm saying
you don't know what's
you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know what their plans are. But yeah, that's whatever happens in the game. We'll just handle that.
Now, was there any players that I guess got dropped that you were a bit surprised? I mean, I personally thought Tony Staggs kind of hard done by. I also thought Regan Campbell-Gillard a bit hard done by. Was there anyone that you kind of thought?
Oh, probably those two. I was a little bit surprised that Katoni was left out. He got a knock on the shoulder, so wasn't able to play out the entire 80 minutes. But I was a little bit surprised because he's been in great form. He's played some wonderful footy leading up to game one. So, but their changes that their selection, staff or panel believe that is going to best suit them for game two.
Do you think Talakai has kind of been, when he looked at I need people explosive to break tackles, to just break the game open.
Yep.
If I lose Staggs, I bring Talakai on the bench that can kind of do that for us? Because do you think the role Talakai plays is basically, mate, you've got 20 minutes to just go absolutely crazy?
I think he'll be used as a wrecking ball, and that's it.
Yeah.
I don't even think he'll play in the centres.
Yeah, well, just get him in the middle and just go hard.
Middle, edge, whatever it is, he'll put him on for a big, a short stint. Again, this is what I believe.
Yeah.
But if I was them, why would you? If things are going well, and Crichton and Burton are playing well, you're not taking them off the field.
Yeah, no way.
And that was my thought process for game one. If Katoni Staggs and Jack Whiten are playing well, Stephen Crichton's not going to go into the centres. It was it needed a Katoni Staggs shoulder injury for him to get on the field.
Yeah.
And Jack Whiten was their best player. For the most part of that game.
Absolutely.
You throw Tedesco in there as well, but you're not going to take Jack Whiten off the field. So, I'm looking at that. I just think that he'll be used as a wrecking ball.
Mm.
He'll be told to go on for, if it's 12, 15 minutes and just cause some havoc.
Yeah.
Get some quick play the balls, get us on the front foot. Because he's played a little bit of footy in the middle.
Absolutely.
He's played a little bit of
I think
footy.
he started the year in the middle.
Yeah. So, So it's been quite a while since he's been there, but he's got the ability to do it.
Now, we're going to head to a break. Make sure, give us a call, 1300 01 1170. You can ask Smithy all of your Origin questions, or you can give us a text, 0457 736 736. Ask us your footy questions, we'll enter. We've got 1,000 texts already, so we'll get to them after the break. We'll also continue previewing Origin, going deep into Queensland selections and game plans. See you on the other side. Welcome back to the Captain's Run. Make sure to give us a call, 1300 01 1170, or text 0457 736 736. Give us a follow on Apple or Spotify, the Captain's Run, or download the SEN app.
All callers too, Kempy, remember, a chance to win $50 Schnitz voucher.
Oh, yeah.
And a pack from TaylorMade. If you're into your golf, make sure you get around TaylorMade. You get a dozen TP5 golf balls and a Tour Radar hat. So get in.
Give us a call. Now, we actually have a caller on the line. We've got Jace from North Parramatta. Jace, you there, mate?
Yeah. Morning, Denon, and morning, the goat.
How are you, mate?
First, I'm all good, thanks. Yeah, going well. Just a quick thank you I got one of the TaylorMade packs, and beautiful. Got the cap on.
Good man.
Need all the help I can get. So,
don't we all, mate?
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to all of the games this weekend. From the women's State of Origin all through to the internationals. Obviously, the big one on Sunday night. Specifically, the Kiwis versus Tonga. Now, I saw Jesse Bromwich's got the C next to his name, and it took me back a few years ago when he was first chosen. And I know things didn't go to plan for Jesse back then, but my most enduring memory was the footage of the captaincy announcement in the Melbourne Storm sheds. And I saw, it was a few years ago, a goat, might have been a billy goat back then, but jumping to his feet, arms in the air, and it was basically, to me, it was such a beautiful sight, a measure of you as a man, Smitty, but also obviously the culture of the Storm. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, thanks, mate. No, it's great. I'm really pleased for Jesse. A while back there, he had a couple of little hurdles to get over, but he's certainly done that, and he's been a great leader for the Melbourne Storm now for some time. Even before he was made captain of the footy club, he was a great leader. And he's done some wonderful things for particularly a lot of the younger players and the front rowers coming through the Melbourne Storm system. And, I'm really happy for him that he gets to lead out the Kiwis against Tonga. This will be a really special moment for him. Going back to New Zealand, of course, we spoke about this is the first sort of top flight rugby league match in New Zealand for quite some time. So it's going to be a bumper crowd. It's going to be a huge atmosphere, isn't it, Kempy, between these two sides. He's, as I said, he's been a great leader for such a long time. I'm sure this will be a very proud moment for Jesse and the rest of his family on Saturday.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really smart decision by Madge. Jesse Bromwich obviously leading the Storm over the last few years, and they've continued to be the Storm that we all know and love. And so I think he's perfect for that Kiwi squad because it's relatively young. You've got a youngish hooker in the Cheese, Sir Cheezel. Then you've got Hughes and Grant. Hughes and Brown, also, relatively young. I know Hughes is around 26 years old, but still, that's not a veteran by any stretch, especially in his position.
Yep.
Brown's young, and then at fullback, you got Joey Manu, who I think is still only 24, 25.
Yep.
So just to have that really grizzled veteran in the middle, I think is going to help him a lot. You there, Jace?
Yeah, sorry, mate. Sorry, yeah.
All good.
No, that was all.
He was just really impressed with your answer, mate.
No worries, mate.
Sorry.
No worries.
It's dropping out, but no, fantastic. I'm really looking forward to it. And as you said, Jesse deserves all of this, and I'm looking forward to it. I wouldn't have anything to do with any of those forward backs. I'd be like like Kempy when he rocks up to those 5-star restaurants, greeted by the maitre d'. Greeted by the maitre d'. So, yeah, Mr. Taumalolo, the try line's just behind me. I'll show you. That'll be me.
Thanks, Jace.
Good on you, mate.
Thanks for the call, mate. Appreciate it.
Done.
Now we're going to head to Queensland's.
I think we might have to head to the news, mate.
Oh, we're heading to the news.
Yeah,
Apologies. Head
yeah.
to the news. And then after that, we're going to go deep into the Queensland selection and game plan. Welcome back to the Captain's Run with Cameron Smith. You can give us a call, 1300 01 1170. Ask Smithy your origin questions or text us 0457 736 736. Now, onto the Maroons camp. We've got Xavier Coates out with an ankle, Cotter out with a hamstring, which I think as Cotter's hamstring broke, I could hear the cries of agony across the state.
Oh,
It hurt to see it. I wish there wasn't footage of it, honestly. There should have been some warning of traumatic footage about to appear. It should have all just come for Queenslanders because that was traumatic to see.
Yep.
So Cotter is out. Tulangi, though. Toalangi makes his debut on the Sting. Then you've got Lindsay Collins promoted from the bench to start a prop with Tino, moves into lock. Arrow recalled on the bench. Got a question about the Lindsay Collins because I think it's a really interesting decision there because I think some people would have thought maybe Paddy Carrigan comes on at 13 and Tino stays in the front row.
Yep.
Do you know what the thinking was around bringing Lindsay on instead of Paddy?
Well, I think it was really a toss of the coin, to be honest, Kempy. Either player could have started.
Yeah.
I think Bill may have just opted for Lindsay given he's a bit bigger body.
Yeah.
Maybe able to handle that first up
He was great on the weekend too, Lindsay.
Well, he was.
Yeah,
he was in a beaten side.
Yeah.
He was huge. Like he was the Roosters' best player.
Easy.
So he got through a mountain of work. He made something like 47 tackles. Like for a big man, he gets through a lot of good work. A lot of stuff that like people don't see too, like kick pressure, kick chase.
He's pretty quick for a big man.
He is,
off
mate.
the mark.
Yeah, he is. And like I knew he was a quality player coming into State of Origin 1, but watching his performance and then doing the review, watching some vision of some of his actions, like really impressive.
Yeah, okay.
Really impressive. And so I think that's what probably got him over the line in front of Paddy Carrigan. As I said, either way, like toss of the coin. Like Paddy could have started.
Yeah, okay.
He starts for his club and plays huge minutes. I think Billy just went, well, look, slightly bigger body. We'll just get him out there first
Bit more
up.
experience too.
First up. Yeah, a little bit more experience. And Paddy, again, he was fantastic off the bench as well in game one. So
when I was thinking about it, I was like, initially I was like, put Paddy at 13. But then I was like, but one of our best weapons was Paddy on the bench.
That's right.
And as you've said so many times on the show, I think the game has changed where being on the bench is not lesser than being starting.
It's not a demotion
at all. It's a part of a plan.
It's such a vital part of your 17 now. And as you said, the game plan.
Absolutely. So Lindsay Collins to start, but Tuolangi. I know was he in camp last time?
Yeah, he was. Time? Yeah, no, he was in the 22.
Yep.
So him and the Hammer, they were the sort of outside backs that were
okay.
And
how's he been around camp?
Good. He's quiet.
He's quiet.
He's quiet.
Okay.
If you ever need him, you just find where Jeremiah Nanai is.
Oh, really?
Oh, mate,
2 peas in a pod.
Oh, you cannot separate them. And the same thing, if you need Jeremiah, you just find Murray.
And they're just there. Well, they're there.
Yeah, they do like their extras at training together. They do their recovery together. They eat their meals together.
Okay,
they do everything together.
Up north, they're tight up north.
They're good.
That must be why they're going so well.
Yeah, but they've been fantastic. They've been really good. And to be honest, Billy spoke to the extended squad players. So from 18 to 22 in game one, and just said, "Hey boys, like you're not here just for the ride. You're here because." If anything was to happen to these players in the 17, like you're in. So you need to be ready.
Yeah.
So whenever you're when you've been a part of these, these camps, the preparation, you need to train and prepare like you're playing as well. So it's great to see that they took that advice in game one. They all trained really well, and both Jai Arrow and Murray now get the opportunity to come in and play game two.
Yeah. It's a really interesting thing because you get the 22 squad or the 18 to 22, and some of them would be like obviously very, very honoured, but there is this kind of sometimes could be a feeling of, well, I'm not going to play, so I'm here more just for the experience but if you're in that 22, it's so important to tell them that even though you're playing, you're still playing because you're helping the build up, you're helping the training. If you don't train hard, you're not putting it up against our starting side enough.
Yep. Good point, mate.
Yeah.
It just, people don't realise how important those extended squad players are to the preparation.
Yeah.
Like if they're not there and if they're not at their best, then they can't help the guys that are going out to play on Sunday night be at their best too.
I would almost say, and again, obviously don't have experience in coaching or in Origin camp, but I would almost say their game day is the training week in the sense of like your job
100%
is that week. And then you get to have the game off. The boys will go do that work, but your work is that week to bring as much as you can to the camp.
I remember, going back to a couple of big games that I was involved in with Melbourne Storm. So leading into the Parramatta Grand Final and the Canterbury Grand Final, they had two guys in those respective sides that were in just red hot form. Jared Hayne being one in 2009, and then Benny Barber in 2012.
Yeah,
they both won the Dally M, I think, that year.
It was incredible years from them.
Right?
Yeah.
So in those lead up to those games, we designated one guy in the Storm squad that wasn't going to be a part of that grand final team, but he was designated as Jared Hayne for that preparation and for Ben Barber for that preparation. And they trained opposed to our side all week and just they emulated what those players did.
Wow.
Which allowed us to go out and play well and defend those players as well as we did in those two matches.
Yeah, and it almost kind of puts in your head, you're constantly aware of that's Hayne,
yes.
that's Barber.
That's right.
When you're on the field, you're constantly, because when you're on the field, sometimes when you're in the heat of the battle, you don't concentrate.
No.
You're just going with the flow.
Yeah, you're an autopilot.
Exactly, and whereas if you're just always think you've got to be always aware, like Hayne's got the ball, or Barber's got the ball.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Really interesting. So yeah, the importance of the squad. Actually, a funny story. Well, not funny story. One of my proudest moments as rugby league actually was we got called to the Broncos 2006. Sorry, Smithy, bring this up.
No, you're right.
That's right. 2006, we got called in as reserves to hold pads for the Broncos side.
Yep.
And I was on it at the time, but when you're young and you just don't appreciate stuff. And I was I'm a part of the squad. I know the boys or whatever. But now I look back, I'm like, I got to be a part of the preparation for, obviously they went on and won it that year. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think I did as well as your players probably did when it comes to emulating anyone. But I was there. I made up the numbers. Now, on to, Tuilangi, obviously, to start on the wing. Jai Arrow record on the bench. Really interesting. Jai Arrow, he did have that hiccup last year. Really, I guess he should be really proud by the fact that Rabbitohs haven't been going that great. And it is quite, he was battling with a guy like Flegler, who is killing it at the moment, in my opinion.
Well. Yep.
So massive congratulations for Arrow to fight his way back into the side. And do you think Jai Arrow, I guess partly why he was selected was because he is such an Origin type player? He seems to suit it.
Yep, absolutely. And I think, I think Billy had spoken to Jai and all the Queensland players that were eligible to play for Queensland this year and just spoke about, hey, listen, it's a clean slate.
Okay.
All right. So we know he had his little hiccup last year and he was removed from camp. But I think he spoke to every Queensland eligible player this year and said, hey, listen, this is a new slate.
Okay.
Okay. I'm a new coach. So I'm taking you for what you're going to produce this year for your clubs. And as Queenslanders, the way you conduct yourself on the field and off the field, and we'll just go from there. So he's done a fantastic job getting himself back in there. And he was pretty close, I believe. I think he was pretty close to being in that team for game one.
Okay.
So, he was like, what was he? Was he 18th man?
I think he
was 18th or 19th man.
Yeah.
Right? So he was pretty close. So when Ruben went down, when Ruben Cotter went down with that injury, I think that was pretty much the natural selection of Jai to come in.
Yeah. You know what would have been perfect if Billy had gone, boys, it's a clean slate.
He may have. He may have. I like it. Hey, you might be able to ask him.
Mate, that's a dad joke. I'm not even dad.
You can ask him.
I'll ask him. No, I'm too nervous. I'm too nervous.
That's what I said.
No way. Now, we are going to head to a break. So make sure to call in 1300 01 1170 or text 0457 736. Also, we're giving away prizes. We've got the TPG 5 to give away. We've got $50 snitch vouchers as well. Tailor-made packs, all the great stuff. So text in, call in, and we'll see you on the other side. Oh, yeah. Snitties, love them. So tasty. The best snitties in all the land. But this is the best hands thanks to Schnitz. What do we got here, Smithy?
3 nominations again this week, Kempy. First one, Moses Sully leaping above 4 Rabbitohs defenders. I don't know whether that's...
A big fella.
He was good.
He's a big,
How good
big
were
one.
the Dragons?
Mate, where'd that come from?
Wow.
Seriously?
I'll tell you what it come from. It come from, I think, a little bit to do with Andrew McCulloch's 300th.
Chainsaw, good old Macca.
Yep, big Macca. I think they were fired up for his night. But the Rabbits, wow. We'll get on to that later. But, yeah, he got up and scored the 4th try in the first half blitz of the Bunnies.
Mate.
32 points?
Incredible, yeah.
32.
32-0.
Unbelievable. 2 points. The flick passes from both Val Holmes and Murray Tuolungi to send Connolly Lemilu
Lemilu, yeah. Lemilu.
over in the Cowboys' comeback win over Manly. That was unbelievable.
7 minutes to go, 14
I was like,
minutes down.
oh, mate, wow, this is a huge win by Manly.
Yeah.
And then next minute, I had, because I was getting ready to do the Storm Broncos game.
Yes.
Right?
Mm.
And I'm like, oh, wow, big win by Manly. Next minute, I hear just on like my little app listening to the footy, Manly lining up for a 2-point field goal to take it to extra time. I'm like, that can't be right. Am I hearing things? Crazy.
Mate, what a finish.
But some of the footy, hey.
Mate, it was incredible. It was so incredible. I wore a cowboy suit in my show earlier this week.
I did see that.
Yes, I did.
Can you wear one on this show, please?
Mate, whatever you
At
want,
some
Smithy.
stage?
I'll rock up. When the Cowboys beat the Storm, I'll do it for you.
Oh, well, hang on. Well, Storm beat Broncos, mate. You should have come in like a big Storm man suit.
Big
cloud and lightning bolt.
Lightning.
2 points to those boys, outside backs from the Cows, who will be featuring for the Maroons. Centre wing combo.
Yep.
3 points though. The Eels, the offloads, the flick passes, which sent Micah Sivo over for his try against the Roosters. Best try of the season, you reckon? That one?
Mate, it was incredible.
How many hands did it go through? I lost count.
I just can't believe how everything landed so smoothly.
In that play.
Oh, mate, it was incredible. Incredible.
But that's 3 points. Hands down 3 points. Great to see Mike Sivo back in first grade too.
Oh, what about his fend on Joey Manu?
Yuck.
Oh, my God.
And
Now,
Joey Manu was no slouch.
mate, he's one of the better defensive. And he's what? He's 6'2", 98 kilos.
Yeah.
Big boy.
Yep.
That was thanks to best hands, thanks to Schnitz, biting to golden, delicious, handcrafted Schnitz. We've got a caller here, actually. We've got a caller, Ronan from Townsville. Ronan, you there, mate?
Hey, boys, how are we?
Good, mate. How are you going?
Yeah, good, thanks. Hey, so my question is, where do you think Queensland is most strong, and then where are we going to get our points from in Game 2?
I mean, it's hard to go past the money man Munster. He just has that special little something about him. Now, don't get me wrong. I do think that New South Wales will be flying out of the line at him to try and, I guess, upset his momentum. But you know what? I think Dan Gagai's in for a big game. Now, all the Queenslanders played really well, and Gagai was good as well, but he did miss a substantial amount of tackles. And I think he's going to be revved up to right that wrong. You know, whenever your team plays really well and you don't, you feel even more guilty, I guess, because you're kind of like, I wasn't up to that. Not to say they didn't play bad, but he didn't have his best game. So I think Gagai's in for a huge, huge match. What about yourself, Smithy?
No, I think he is too. And he's never, ever let Queensland down.
No way.
And this is as big as it gets. You know, like playing in a Game 2 scenario like this after you've won Game 1, it's even bigger again. Now, I know, like, because there's no second guessing about how New South Wales is going to approach this game. This is do or die for them.
Yeah.
So if they're not desperate, then they probably shouldn't have got on the plane to go to Perth.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is they will be.
Absolutely.
There's absolutely no question about that. So the challenge for Queensland is to go over to Perth and have the mindset of, hey, we want to be just as desperate to win this off the back of the hard work that we put in to win Game 1. Because it come down to, like, centimetres.
Literally, yeah.
Centimetres. And all the things that have been said about New South Wales and, they got the selection wrong and, this player. Hey, they were centimetres away from taking that game to extra time, and they weren't that bad. So it was a great game of footy. This is going to be even better game 2. It's going to be huge. The crowd's going to be huge. The atmosphere is going to be unbelievable. I hope the Queenslanders have got the right frame of mind against this Blues team.
Yeah, my thoughts on the game, if I was like to say something to Queensland, would be like, that first 20 is so important to hang in there. They're going to come out crazy.
All guns blazing.
So you just got to hang in there because eventually, sometimes when you're a team, I'm sure you've had these situations too when you've played obviously with the Storm. You come out and you're so emotional, and that first 20, you just go crazy, and it doesn't work for you.
Yep.
It's almost more deflating.
Well, it is. If you don't get results, and particularly points on the board, when I'm talking about results, points on the board to show for your effort, it is deflating. So it's important they hang in, Queensland.
Thanks, Ronan, for the call. Appreciate it, mate.
Cheers, boys. Last thing, shout out to Mischief Clothing. Join the lifestyle.
Shout out to Mischief Clothing. Give her a Google. Mischief Clothing. Thanks for calling, Ronan. Appreciate it, brother. We are going to head to a break. After the break, we're going to continue previewing the round. Plus, we'll also talk about the rep round. We've got the Women's Origin. We've got Tonga versus New Zealand. We've got Fiji. We've got PNG. It's all happening. So stay tuned, and we'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to the Captain's Run with Smithy. Make sure to call in 1300 01 1170 or text 0457 736 736. But we are very, very lucky to have the great Billy Slater on the line. Billy, it's Denon here. How you going, brother?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Denon. Thanks for having me, guys.
No worries, mate. How's camp life going, Bill? Day off today with the boys. Let us know about how they're all feeling for this game too.
Yeah, no, it's been really good, Smithy. Obviously, you've been in here, so you've been able to feel the vibe and the energy amongst the group, and that's one thing that's been similar to the first camp is just that energy and enthusiasm within the guys, and it's a different feel this camp because of the short turnaround, the only 7-day preparation, but everything's been really good, and training's been high energy. They got the day off this morning, and then we head over to Perth this afternoon. So it's a pretty long travel, but their preparation's been good so far.
Now, Bill, it's Kempy here. So with the, obviously your first coaching role, but it's a really interesting one because you're not walking into a team that kind of has an old core. You're walking into quite a young squad outside of a DCE, Papali'i, those couple of blokes. What's it like coaching such a young group of men?
Yeah, with the youth, you get enthusiasm and energy. The other thing is a real willingness to learn and want to develop their game. So, I've really enjoyed that part of it and trying to help young guys build and educate themselves in areas around the footy field. So, it's a different environment to a club football. You only have a certain amount of time with these guys. So, number one, you're trying to build a connection with them, not just yourself, but a connection between the teammates. And the second thing is obviously the football, which is really important. That's what we do. We're playing football on Sunday night, so try and build that connection on the field and get them to play their best football at the right time.
And mate, I spoke to Smithy before game one. And he said it was a bit different because you don't have any control when you go out there. So he was a bit nervous. What about yourself, mate? What was a different feeling going into, Origin 1?
Yeah, he's 100% right. When we had the jerseys on, we could actually do something about it. But all our work's done and dusted by kick-off. And although we can do a few little things throughout the game, interchanges and get some messages down, but now we've got a lot of trust and belief in our players, and that's what we've been trying to instill in them and allow them to create their own footy and what that looks like. We help shape that at training and in meetings, but at the end of the day, we've got some really good football minds that are out there on the field, and everyone's on board in the way that we play. So although Cam and I are sitting back very nervous and uneasy, I think those guys out on the field are pretty comfortable.
Now, Bill, I know you quite well over the time that we played footy with each other. And he was the type of guy, Campy, that was every day looking to make himself better as a player. Now, as a coach, it's a very different role, Bill. What did you take out of game one that you've tried to be maybe a little bit different or try to be better at for game two?
Yeah, good question, Smithy. And it's one thing that I've always tried to do is try to become better in whatever I do. I still remember my last week in my career as a player, and I was still trying to improve. So, there's definitely things that I did in game one that I've tried to adjust, and I'm sure I'm going to make mistakes in game two. Looking forward to game three as well. So, I think we're always assessing ourselves and trying to adjust things, but just little things, trying to remain calm in certain situations where I probably got a little bit more intense, and vice versa. And look, at the end of the day, we're always learning, and I only look at it as a mistake if you don't learn from it.
Now, as players, we were lucky enough to have sort of one coach for our entire career, Craig Bellamy. Did you ever sit back during that first game and think, mate, now I understand why he was the way he was in the coach's box?
There was a couple of times where I thought, I'm starting to creep down that lane. Yeah, come on, Bill, hold yourself together. We used to shake our heads looking at Belzer up in the box and go, what are you doing here? But, at the end of the day, like, people ask me what sort of coach am I going to be, what are you going to be like in the box? And to be honest, I've got no idea. And, Origin is such an emotional game that you've just got to let it take you. And, we try and be ourselves, and, whatever happens. But, I did sort of get a little bit sort of frustrated at times, but at the end of the day, it's who we are.
Now, Bill, you got Kalen at the back there, Kalen Ponga. He's such an interesting player because, he's reached, really good heights in rugby league. There's no doubt about it. But me personally, I just think there's so much more that he can go so much higher. What's it like working with him, and obviously yourself, you've had such an incredible career. Are you excited to be able to work with a guy like Kalen? Yeah,
I love that, Campy. I really enjoy working with guys like Kalen. Number one, he's a great person. He's a really good lad, Kalen, and that just makes you want to help him even more. He's got so much ability, and he's such a good player now. Like, he is a great player, and talking about always trying to look for improvement. He searches for that all the time. I see that in the video sessions that we do. I see that at training. He's always one of the last out there, one of the first to get there, and always looking to improve his game. And, so I really enjoy that part of this role and trying to develop those guys, especially in and around, the position that I played. We're very fortunate to have, the guy that's sitting next to you, in the middle of the field helping educate, those guys. No one knows that part of the field as well as Cam Smith. And, Jonathan Thurston's here, Nate Miles, Alan Langer, Josh Hannay's been a great rock for our coaching staff because of his experience and his knowledge of the game. So we've got a really good balance in our coaching staff to go out there and help those individuals. And on the other side of that, they've just got such an enthusiasm to learn. So it's a good balance.
Now, I'm sure it's a pleasure dealing with Kalen. Is it a pleasure dealing with Munster day to day?
Every team's got a pair state.
The thing about Cameron Munster, and there's been a fair bit spoken about him this year, he's obviously prioritised what he wants to get out of his career, and he's getting the rewards for that on the field. But he's still the likeable lad around camp. He's great to be around. He's got a really good jovial personality, and that's what makes him so likeable. But don't confuse that with how much he sees his footy as important. He really cares about his footy. He's got a great footy knowledge, and he works really hard at it. So it's not just give the ball to Cameron Munster and he'll just do something. He's a part of our footy and what that looks like. But he really cares about his footy and he works hard at it, like I said.
Now, just onto the opposition quickly, Bill. They've made some changes, several changes, particularly to their starting lineup. Do you view that as a much stronger New South Wales side for Game 2?
Well, they bring different strengths, Smithy. Obviously, Appy Coruscant, and you know more than anyone that what strengths he has. He's real crafty, number 9, and it's a different look to when Damien Cook's there, and we're still going to have to face Damien Cook at some stage, and that speed out of dummy half. But we're going to have to really be on our game, with Appy at dummy half, just with his trickery out of dummy half, and also his combinations with Yeo and Cleary, Luai there as well. So that's a real focus for us going into this game. And even without the changes, when you lose game 1, you have an intensity lift. There's going to be a whole heap of energy from them at the start of the game. So we need to match that, and hopefully we can dish out a little bit of that energy ourselves. So different players, but still the same focus for us going in. We can't be taking the foot off the accelerator here.
You've also got Burton debuting in the centres. It's a really interesting selection because obviously he's been playing fantastically, but I felt like Queensland was so good game 1 in pressuring Cleary, but kind of a new piece has been added to the table now when it comes to essentially at the end of every set, Queensland will have to take into account there is another kicker that has a unique weapon, which is the bomb. Is that something that I guess you've looked at and ways to combat that as the coach of Queensland?
Yeah, definitely something we've addressed. Obviously, Nathan Cleary is a great kicker in himself, and you'd be silly to take the ball away from him too many times. But with Burton there, he's got that left foot, and also Jerome Luai kicks a fair bit as well. So we've certainly addressed that throughout the week, and we've got to think like them. What would you do if that was our game 1 and our kicker was under that sort of pressure? So I'm sure they're going to be having some sort of contingency plan around Cleary, but we'll be ready for whatever happens. We want to make sure that we've got pressure, in waves and not just one guy. So that'll be our focus.
Now, you've been in this position before, Billy, as a player for Queensland, where the Maroons have won game 1, and you go into game 2 against a very desperate New South Wales side. What's the biggest challenge, do you think, for your footy side going over to Perth for this match?
Yeah, we've just got to match that desperation. We've got to think that this is do or die for us as well. So, State of Origin is all about that desperation, and we saw some acts in that first game that if we didn't have that, well, we mightn't be sitting here 1-0 up in the series. So, really important that we go over there with that mindset that there is no tomorrow, and hopefully that holds us in good stead. But it's a footy game. There's 80 minutes. It's going to be exciting. You'd like to think that both teams are going to improve, and hopefully it's an entertainment product that everyone's going to enjoy.
And just before we let you go, Bill, just for you personally, you've been a coach now for a few months, I guess, putting the team together, and you coach your first game. How are you enjoying it, mate? Like, is it what you dreamed of, or how is it?
Well, to be honest, I never dreamt of this, Kempy. I dreamt of playing, that's for sure, but I didn't see myself as a coach. We looked up to
Bellyache didn't help with that.
Bennett.
You would have looked at Bellyache and said,
you're not wrong. But we looked up to Wayne Bennett and Mel Meninga and these guys, and they were godlike figures for us as players. And when this position got put in front of me, I didn't really know how to react, but at the end of the day, this is important to us. That's why we're here, Cam, Jonathan. Everyone's in this environment because we care about this team, and this team means a whole heap to our people. It's an inspiration to our state, and we feel that we can contribute. We know rugby league as much as we know anything. So it's the one thing that we do know about, and we feel like we can contribute to this team and help guide them, and then hopefully they can go out there and play their best football. So I'm really enjoying that side of things. I love wearing the maroon colour and representing our state. So it's a different way that we're doing it, but yeah, really enjoying it at the moment, Kempy.
Mate, thank you so much for joining us, mate. Really do appreciate it, and good luck. Good luck on Sunday.
Pleasure, boys. I'll see you at the airport, Cam.
Good luck, Bill. See you soon, boss. See you, mate.
How good. There he is, Billy the Kid. Billy the Kid.
He's good. He's good.
Yeah.
And you talk about coaching, and whether he's enjoying it and he said, like, I never really thought about being a coach. Like, he pretty much coached
on the field
in some capacity.
Yeah.
Like for the last, 10 years, I reckon, of his career as a player.
Well, I mean,
At all levels,
Yeah.
not just Storm, like Queensland,
Yeah, okay.
Australia also.
Yeah, wow. It's, I mean, you look at the players that have come through. I know he's always had a connection with Storm and he's worked with, but the fullbacks that have come after him, he's had a fair bit of impact on them.
Huge. And you speak to even a guy that's moved on, like Nico Hines. Like you speak to him about the influence that Billy's had.
Yeah.
Not just with his fullback play, but all the things in and around being a professional rugby league player, like your preparation, your education of the game, looking at the opposition, understanding what you're going to see, what you're going to face. Yeah, he's just been fantastic for so many guys coming up through those systems, wanting to be first graders.
I was going to tell him my joke, but I thought, no, I better not.
The slate.
New slate.
Probably a good thing you left it out, mate.
Yeah.
He might have just gone,
Hang
hung
up
the phone.
Billy, you there, mate? You there? You cut out, buddy.
No, that's good. We thank Bill. It's a big week for him, obviously, and Origin coach coming on. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, just from a fan's perspective, it's just incredible what he's done. Even in his career, when he came back from that injury with a shoulder, when it looked like he was done.
Oh, yeah.
All that, and then to come into Origin under a mountain of pressure, keep his cool, make some bold selections as well. Didn't play it safe.
Yep.
I mean, there's a reason why he's pretty much the greatest fullback of all time and one of the greatest players of all time.
That's right.
Because of his dedication. And what's really interesting is that, like, as you know, Smithy, when you're in the systems, like, whether it be Broncos, Storms, or whatever, and you get asked about certain players, or you say, what's Slater like? Or you speak to someone that has dealt with Slater.
Yep.
I've never, ever, and genuinely never heard someone say, he's not that good or whatever. It's always, mate.
Glowingly.
Exactly. He's an impressive man. Impressive man.
Yeah.
So massive congratulations to Bill. We've got a few texts here, though. Thoughts on New South Wales forward pack changes, better or worse?
Yeah, well, we spoke about that a little bit earlier. I think they've made the selections around just getting a little bit more sort of leg speed, a little bit more agility through their forward pack, and certainly guys like Jake Trbojevic bring that. Angus Crichton too. I think there were calls for him to be a part of the New South Wales team in game one, wasn't there? So he may have been a little bit unlucky to miss out. For game one, and because he's done a great job for New South Wales in the past, which is, I guess, why a few Blues fans were sort of like,
"What's doing?"
Yeah, like, why is he not there?
Yeah.
Same with Jake. So they've been called back in, and again, like, you make changes to become better, to improve. You don't just make changes for the sake of it. And obviously, Brad Fittler and his selection panel have looked at those players that have come in and thought, well, these guys will make us a better team.
And they're in like a lose-lose situation. You make changes, you shouldn't have made all those changes because you were so close. You don't make changes, we lost the first game, we need to make changes.
That's right.
So it's kind of like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yep.
Now we're going to head to a break. Give us a call, 1300 01 1170. Text in 0457 736 736. After the break, we'll continue previewing the round. We've got the Women's Origin. Well, Women's Origin, I think that's Friday night.
Yep.
Then on Saturday, we've got the rep round, the international rep rounds kicking off with Tonga and New Zealand. But we'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to the Captain's Run with Cameron Smith. We're doing a time for a breakdown, which young players are climbing the Bailey ladder. So it's time for which players are climbing the Bailey ladder that are worksite trusted for 60 years, Smithy. 60 years.
Unbelievable.
Now,
where's my ladder?
Yeah, we had a ladder here. I mean, I needed a ladder here this week too.
We'll get it in here.
Okay.
We'll get it in here. We'll find it
Yep.
somewhere. Someone's probably using it. Might be that plumber out there. I don't know. Is it him? No, he's on it. He's on the Bailey ladder, yeah.
Oh, mate, how sturdy does he look? He looks
It's
safe
good.
as anything.
Safe as houses. Here we go. Number one, Curtis Morin made his NRL debut on the weekend, boys. Bulldogs.
Mm-hmm.
He had one try, one line break, ran for 90 metres, a tackle break in just 15 minutes of footy.
Yep.
22 he is.
He scored a try nearly in his first touch.
Wow. That's good.
Come on, line break, bit of a layer up towards the try line.
Yep.
I think he pointed to his family.
Ooh.
Risky business, that one. Risky business.
Just get the ball down.
Get it down, son.
And carry on.
But yeah, I mean, what a moment for him.
Yep.
What an incredible moment. Make your debut and be able to do that. Incredible.
Yep. And I tipped doggies for the backup win.
You did too, didn't you?
And the Dragons.
You did.
against the Bunnies.
Yeah, okay. Fair call.
Number 2, Christian Tuipulotu in a losing side. Well, we mentioned about this Cowboys Manly game.
Ouch.
Like, I don't know how, but they found a way to lose. Anyway, 21. He's only 21, Christian, but he had a blinder on the wing, 2 tries, 1 line break, 1 tackle break, and ran for over 100 metres against the Cows, who have been very good defensively this year.
Well,
very good.
Really interesting. Tuipulotu has kind of flown under the radar because you've got a guy like Kula, who is, an incredible athlete, athlete. But when you actually look at impact on games, stats, Tuipulotu has been one of their best outside backs all year in his debut year.
Yep.
I got a massive rap on him. So, great game.
And having another guy on like Saab as well. Like, he gets a lot of the talk, a lot of the chatter.
Mm-hmm.
But he was fantastic. And last one though, Aaron Shoop, the 20-year-old. He had 1 try, 1 line break, 2 offloads, and ran for over 290 metres. Now, I know that's what you just did that regularly.
Oh, please.
As a winger, 290 metres. You did that on the boot, didn't you? How easy is footy?
No.
Did you walk away from your first game just go, mate, how easy is this?
No, I walked off the field and they said to me, you won't be playing first grade next week. That's literally what they said to me. Yeah, the guy.
What?
The media manager walked straight up to me and says, you played really well, mate, but just so you know, you're not playing first grade next week.
The media manager told you?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I was like, oh, okay, sweet.
Back to Aaron Shoop.
Yes.
What a performance.
Look, what I love about this is I think Shoop has been playing really well for the Doggies. I thought he was one of their best players last year. He brought a bunch of energy. He never took a backward step regardless of who we're playing.
Yes.
And I'm stoked for Shoop to have this game because it shows people, we've got this young gun at the Bulldogs that doesn't get appreciated because it's at the Bulldogs. You see these big games with these big numbers. A lot of people will start to take notice. You've got a 20-year-old centre that's playing some great footy.
Unbelievable.
Now, that's all thanks to Bailey Ladders bringing safety and efficiency to the workside for over 60 years. I'm telling you, the amount of work that goes into making sure you meet safety standards, guys, it's a mountain of work. So for 60 years, incredible. After the news, we'll continue previewing the round, including New Zealand versus Tonga and the Women's State of Origin. Welcome back to the Captain's Run with Cameron Smith. Make sure to call in 1300 01 1170 or give us a text. We've got some texts here. Boys, do you think there's a lot of pressure on Matt Burton in his debut game? A lot of talk about his kicking already.
Oh, I don't think there's there's pressure on everyone going into Origin. First games, he might be a little bit nervous, but he's played in some big matches already. So he knows what it's all about. This one's just going to be a little bit faster, a little bit more physical for longer.
Yeah.
He's a quality young player. He'll handle it, and the kicking that just once he gets a few touches and gets tackled a couple of times, he'll just get straight into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Goat and Smithy, a lot of noise about New South Wales being poor in game 1 and making the wrong decisions. Why is there not more praise for how well Queensland handled losing a winger and having to change their whole structure once Coast went off Ben Brisbane?
That's a good question, Ben. Because there's a lot been happening down south, which we just don't concern ourselves with. And to that point of Queensland and the way they handled that game, Xavier Coates obviously had the high ankle sprain fairly early in the game, midway through the first half.
Yes.
Around that sort of period. And there were some changes made. Kirk Capewell played nearly an entire game out of his back row position. He played in the centres.
Yeah.
Particularly when Nanai was injured as well. That was a really brave effort for him to come back on the field as well, though. That showed some courage. He had a pretty significant sort of strain of his ankle also. So to be able to get it back out there. So essentially, Queensland were playing with 15 players there for a period of time. But it was just part of the game that we had to get on with, and there was no questions asked. Ruben Cotter, there was a plan for him to come off the field and have a little spell. Message went out to him and said, "Mate, we may need you to play 80." He said, "No dramas, I'll just get it done." That's just the way it was, and a lot of stuff happened. Post game with New South Wales, and they weren't happy with certain things with the officiating and all this sort of stuff. That's out of our control. That's out of the guys, the players, and the coaching staff with Queensland. We just need to work on what we thought we needed to be better at. Praise the players, obviously, for the things that they did really well. But, you don't walk around looking for pats on the back. The job's not done. We just heard from the coach, Billy Slater, the job is far from done. Queensland need to go over there and play even better than what they did in game one for this one in Perth, if there are any chance to be competitive in game two.
Now we got another text. Pedro from the Roosters. Morning, boys. I recently read that Teddy needs to be more assertive when speaking to the referees. Smithy, are you running courses and could he join? But jokes aside, as a captain for so long, speaking to refs, it's important. It's such a delicate balance because you need to get your point across, but you've got to also respect. And I think some players do.
Oh, absolutely.
Some players make the mistake of being a bit too emotional when they come up to them.
Well, you need to be able to control your emotions. And when I spoke with referees, I never tried to be assertive. I went up to him and spoke to him like I was having a conversation with anyone else. And really just getting an understanding of what, if there was a call made around a certain thing on the field, I'd try and get an explanation of what his decision was and how he come about that. It's just really general talk. Yeah. But the basis on it was all based around respect. Yeah. And the times where I got a little bit frustrated with referees was when they didn't really give you an opportunity to talk. Yeah. Or even reply to you. Yeah. I find now the referees in the NRL they're quite engaging. Yeah. They are quite engaging with the players, which I really like. Yeah. Because particularly when the player comes up and doesn't rush up in their face and start screaming and throwing their hands and arms around, waving them around everywhere. If you walk up to them in a manner which is respectful, as I said, and very calm, and just have a chat to them, I like how they talk back. Yeah. And a couple of times, and I'm not saying that referees need to be apologetic because at the end of the day, they're humans. They make mistakes like players do on the field. Yeah. But I've seen a couple of times this year, referees look to a captain and say, hey, mate, look, I apologise for that. I stuffed up. Yeah. But it is what it is. Let's move on with the match.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I even really appreciated on the weekend when Townsend went up to the ref and was like, mate, I didn't call the captain's challenge. Yeah. And it would have been very easily, was Ashley Klein?
No, it was Jared Sutton.
Jared Sutton. It would have been very easy for him to go, look, mate, it's done, sorry. Yep. But to be able to go, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Yep. To turn it around. Yeah. I thought that was really good of him. Really good of him. Mate. And that, that again, I feel like I've said this a million times over, so apologies for people that listen all the time. But the thing that sucks about being a ref is the better you are at your job, the less you are noticed. The worse you are at your job, the more you are noticed.
So you don't want to be noticed.
So we only ever notice them when they do something
Poor
wrong.
Things, yeah.
We never appreciate when they make great calls. We never sit there going, oh, what an incredible call. So they got the toughest job, and they love rugby league probably more than anyone because they got the toughest job, and they're doing it out of love for the game. Yep. Now, also, we've got a text here. Hey, boys, don't forget the men and women's under-19 Origin kicks off at 5:30 tonight. That's tonight.
Yep, they're at Leichhardt.
Leichhardt. They actually, they reckon, look, this is just rumour on the grapevine, but they were calling me an under-19 Origin legend.
Really?
Yes, that's what was the word going around in the Queensland camp.
So you represented Queensland under-19s in what year was that?
2006, 7.
Wow. How young are you? How young?
Yeah. Anyway, let's get to the games. Enough about me. So we've got the Women's Origin coming up on Friday. Now, this is a really interesting clash because last year, as I said, the game was on the line. It was a belter of a match, extremely close. And I think it was Chelsea that plays for the Broncos as a front rower for Queensland. Now, some suggested that she may have, I guess, tried as much as she could to get the penalty.
Milked it.
And then some suggest, no, it was a penalty. It was just more showing that it was a penalty. Because, I mean, I think her leg was pulled back. Yep. So there's going to be some bad blood tonight between the girls. There's going to be some bad blood.
There'll be a little bit of feeling there.
Which is what we...
And, of course, Queensland, they kicked the penalty goal.
Yep, exactly. Thanks for finishing the story.
Right on the siren.
Yeah. People listening would have been like, Kempy, why are you telling us about a penalty?
Yeah. So that was the important part of the story.
That was the important part of the story.
So, yeah, I agree. I agree with you, Kempy. I think the New South Wales women, they'll be hurting. The fire in the belly will be quite large. They've been waiting some time for this rematch.
Now, really interesting. I think was it Emma Tonagato that won the women's Dally?
Yeah, shared it. With Millie Boyle.
With Millie Boyle.
Yep.
So really interesting that we, Queensland have a forward that's one of the best in the comp, and they have a back that's one of the best, is the best in the comp. I think it's going to be interesting because Queensland, it's the first year that the Gold Coast Titans could enter a side.
Yes.
And the Titans, not only did they do well, they actually beat the Broncos, who were the reigning champions.
Yep. And
so I actually think that's going to lift the level of the level of play from Queensland because they've got that extra team in the comp. In saying that,
so the quality of the match here.
Yeah, quality of the match. In saying that, it was the Roosters that got the job done in the grand final against the Dragons. So it was an all New South Wales grand final.
Yes.
So you could argue that makes the New South Wales a stronger outfit. What do you see in this game?
Well, they've got as you mentioned, Emma Tonagato, who took out the Dally M. Millie Boyle is actually a New South Wales player.
Oh,
so they've got the dual Dally M.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
She's country New South Wales, even though she's represented the Broncos.
Yeah, I've had her on my show. She come from the same areas like Dale, I think in Kessie.
Yeah, in around there, down the sort of Bega, South Coast sort of region.
Yep.
So they've got the dual Dally M medalists.
Okay.
Of last.
So on
last
paper,
season.
they're probably favourites. On paper.
Well, I think so. But you can't. You can never write off, the Queenslanders, particularly with their skipper, Ali Brigginshaw, who's been, I think, consistently over the lifespan of the NRLW. She's been the most consistent player, very dangerous playing in that halfback position. Brittany Brayley, Nati is back. She's playing number 9. Possibly one of the better number 9s that have played in the women's game.
Yeah.
For how long it's been running for. So do not mistake, Queensland are a very strong outfit.
Yep.
Even though New South Wales have got the 2 reigning Dally M medalists, this is going to be an absolute cracker. And the Maroons, they've won the last 2 Origin matches, and since 2018, the average winning margin, it's only been 6 points, Kempy.
Wow.
6 points. So this is going to be a thriller.
Absolute thriller. I will tell you, Queensland's already won the battle when it comes to profile pictures because they're actually in their Queensland kit.
They're all in kit.
Whereas New South Wales, look, they haven't got it together. They're all in their jerseys from club.
Oh, what's going on
That's
there?
1-0 so far to Queensland. 1-0.
1-0 on the profile pics.
Now, let's get to New Zealand versus Tonga.
What's your tip, before we move on?
Look, obviously I've got to go Queensland.
Yeah, I'm Queensland.
I've got to go Queensland.
Queensland by 4.
The New South Wales side is absolutely stacked. There is no denying. Got some incredibly explosive players. You've got Jesse Surgic. You've got, obviously, Tonagato, Kira Dibb, Penatani. So they're stacked, but I'm going to stick strong. Queensland get the job done.
Yep.
Now, let's get on to New Zealand versus Tonga. The first time a match has been played, a high-level match of rugby league in a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
I am so excited for this match. Honestly, I cannot wait. I think it's going to be fireworks the first 20 minutes.
Yep.
But I will say this New Zealand side, it's the best, in my opinion, it's looked in a very, very long time. Like, I think this New Zealand side is going to be a real problem for Australia when it comes World Cup time.
Mm-hmm.
Some great selections. So you've got Hughes, Brown, Cheese, and Manu as a spine.
Yep.
I mean, it really
pretty
does.
Good.
That's pretty good. And then at 13, you've got Tarpane. So it's just a very strong spine. That in my opinion, you could argue that spine is as strong as the Queensland spine. That's how strong it is.
And then on top of that, like their forward pack led by Jesse Bromwich, as we spoke about earlier in the show, he's the captain of the side. Fisher Harris, okay, probably would he be regarded as the best prop in the game right now?
Well, he's a current reigning premiership prop.
And then you throw in the back row Isaiah Papali'i, Kenny Bromwich, and Joseph Tarpane, who was in just probably career best form.
Easy.
Probably career best form.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like thinking back to 19 when Canberra made the grand final, they were all playing well, particularly their forward pack. That's a formidable Kiwis team.
And look at this bench: Kieran Foran at 14.
Yep.
Moses Leota. Nelson.
So how's Foz going to be played though in this match? Like he's on the bench. Like, how do you he won't throw him in at 9 to give Brendan Smith a rest, will he?
Look, I think they're going to play it by year, and they're going to see, look, Dylan Brown, Hughes, relatively young. Let's see how well they can steer the team around. If it looks like we need an experienced hand to settle the ship, they bring Foran on for maybe a Brown.
Yeah, okay.
That's how I see it happening. Unless they bring him at 13, maybe. I mean, he's tough enough.
Yep.
And they just rotate Tarpane off because Tarpane usually plays in the middle for Raiders.
Yeah, okay.
So maybe they use him as a bit of a 13.
Remembering, Jerome Hughes has actually played 9 for the Kiwis.
Oh, has he?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So maybe he gets slotted in there.
Yeah.
Gets out of dummy half.
And then and then he come back to Storm and didn't play for about 2 weeks because he had a stiff back.
Oh, the best. The best.
He come back, he's like, mate, how do you do this every week? my back is gone.
That's great stuff.
So maybe we won't see that. I think if the word comes down from Madge, hey, Hughesy, going to 9, you're just like, nope, refuse. I'm not moving.
Mate, now, look at the Tonga side. You've got Adam Fanua-Blake. You've got Toki Auho, Setili Tupanoa, Kolomatangi, and Taumalolo.
What about the forward pack matchups?
Holy.
Wow.
It's if Tonga are to win, it's got to be a power game through the middle. If I'm the Tonga's coach, I'm sitting there saying, Havili, forwards, everyone up on the advantage line, everyone ready to go as soon as there is quick play of the ball. We cannot miss a single quick play of the ball. We need to make this game so fast that New Zealand can't get their bearings. What do you think, Smithy?
Yeah, no, I agree. They need to be power-based and they need to go hard straight up. Like they're thinking 20, 25 minutes. We're thinking, it's shock and awe.
Yeah.
Shock and awe.
Absolutely.
Let's just try and just blast our way up the other end of the field and try and jag some points because they got some classy players like Katoni Stagg's not obviously we know he missed out with the Blues selection, but he's playing in the halves. He's playing 6.
Yep.
Talatau Amone, halfback. He's coming off a really strong performance for the Dragons against the Rabbits last week. He was sensational.
Moses Sully,
same thing. Tui Pelotu, we just spoke about earlier, how good he's playing. Kohler playing fullback. Like it's a strong outfit. And remembering the last game that these guys played, they beat the Kangaroos.
I know, incredible.
They beat the Kangaroos in 2019,
mate.
So they're a passionate bunch, as are the Kiwis. But this is going to be enormous. I just cannot wait to see like the crowd.
Sea of Red.
So
good. Just the singing, that.
Oh, mate, I love it. I love it. And the two, the two war dancers at the start.
Oh, yep. Absolutely.
Amazing.
I
watched that. Kempy, right? And I was down at the All-Star game start of the year. The Indigenous All-Stars v. The Māori All-Stars. And the dancers at the start, both the war dancers, at the end, it went for like 15 minutes.
Great. And it's just like constant on the edge of your seat.
So I was standing up the whole time. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it now. But then I'm thinking, I was thinking to myself, I don't know how I'd go and play now.
Fatigue.
I'd be spent.
100%.
I'd be spent.
100%.
But good on them. I love it.
Oh, mate, it's so good.
It's great.
That build-up for the All-Star game this year was amazing.
Yep.
Amazing.
Yep.
Now, prediction. Who do you reckon get to win here?
Well, I think the class of the Kiwis will get him home.
Yeah, look, I think the key difference for the Kiwis is they have two of the best in-form halves of the comp right now.
Hugh's unbelievable.
So they get the job done. We're going to head to a break. After the break, we're going to continue previewing the round. Welcome back to the Captain's Run with Cameron Smith. Thank you so much for listening. Another hour essentially done and dusted. We've done the previews. We're going to continue to preview the round, but we've got some text here, Smith. We've got some text. Hey, goat and bloat.
What's bloat?
Best looking of all time.
Right,
what I do is...
That's you.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not me. That's not me. You must be talking about Matty behind the camera here.
Yeah, it is Matty. It is Matty.
I love how Liam Martin was called out for being a grub. I hope this fires up the boys and they get up and whack him even harder now. I'm flying over to Perth from Brizzy Friday night to watch the boys bring the shield home. Get up, boys, Queenslander.
Yeah, that'd be nice if we could bring it home. Yeah, I did. I was told about this chat about Liam Martin and saying that like Queenslanders were unhappy with him. Like from a team point of view, Liam Martin hasn't been spoken about this week, and the things that he supposedly did in game one, whether that's a bit of media hype between the two papers.
Yes.
They like getting involved. They like getting stuck into each other, the journos. But I'll guarantee you his name hasn't come up. And I'll tell you what, if it's something that is questionable or whatever, he plays the game physical. It's not just for New South Wales.
Yeah.
Anyone that's gone and if they've watched Penrith play on the weekend, he plays that physical style of football where he tries to upset the opposition. That's what our game's about.
Yeah, that's what Origin's about.
The
really.
good players do it. The good teams do it.
Yeah.
So, play on, it's Origin.
Absolutely. We're going to head to a break and we'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to the Captain's Run with Cameron Smith. Make sure to download the SEN app. Also, subscribe to the Captain's Run on Apple and Spotify so you can listen anytime. You can pause, you can play it, you can listen to it fast forward, whatever you want on Apple and Spotify. But we've got a caller here. Chris from Rose Bay. You there, mate?
Yeah, how you going, guys?
Going good, Chris?
I want to ask Cameron a question. Your motivation for taking on this role for Queensland, well, it's a two-part question. A, are you enjoying it? But B, what was your main motivation? Because it's Queensland, or was it a personal challenge? Do you Queenslanders just go on autopilot? You don't even think about it if you're asked to do something for your state?
Yeah, that's a great question, Chris, or two questions actually. Number one, I'll answer your first one straight up. Am I enjoying it? Absolutely, mate. It's been fantastic to be involved with the Queensland footy side. I hadn't been involved for quite some time, or since I retired from rep footy back in end of 2017. So it's great to be back involved in that sort of camp sort of environment, and just being around some of the younger players coming through. It's really exciting times for Queensland Rugby League. Particularly after their first performance in Game 1. I think they showed what they're all about and what they can bring for Queensland in the future. Fingers crossed this next up match, Game 2 in Perth. And the motivation, well, I was called up by one of my great mates, Bill Slater, and he said, "Look, mate, I think I've got a great opportunity. I may be given the coaching role as the Queensland head coach, and if I am to be sort of selected as that coach, I'd love you to be there with me and be an assistant and just to be around camp and help out with the players." And so, straight away, I thought, wow, I was pretty chuffed. It was a pretty proud moment for Billy to offer me that opportunity. It's not a job, like it's absolutely not a job at all for me. It's just a great opportunity to be helping some of the young Queenslanders come through, and really my goal was just to be a bit of a support for Bill, knowing that this was his first role as a coach in any platform, let alone state of origin, and really just to be there to try and help the young players become consistent players. And hopefully the end goal was that they were able to enjoy the things that myself and Jonathan Thurston and Bill Slater and Josh Hannay, we all were able to enjoy as Queenslanders. And that's, the feeling of winning Origin games, winning Origin series. They've got away to a really good start, but it's far from finished. So enjoyable all round, and really, as I mentioned, when I was offered the opportunity by Bill, I was really chuffed at that, and I thought that I'm going in there to help him.
Thanks, Chris, for calling, mate. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Good on you, mate.
We've also got another caller online here. We've got the number one golfer, allegedly from Oysters Bay, the number one golfer.
Number one golfer.
How
are
guys?
you?
Yeah, pretty
good.
good. Just wanted to talk about the Origin coming up. Putting all these Penrith players in the team, it's a bit like going back to the early 80s when Parramatta was dominating, and they had virtually all bar two players in the back line. And I think it's a really good thing for New South Wales because they've got that cohesion. They don't need to sort of get together in a 7-day period and get that cohesion. They're already ready, and I can feel a big New South Wales victory coming up on Sunday. Actually.
Oh no! Number one golfer.
Come on,
don't
mate.
tell me that. No, mate. It's you're absolutely right. It's really interesting selection. What I do find, Penrith deserve a massive rap for this. So you go back about 2 or 3 years. Penrith Panthers had one player in the New South Wales squad.
Yep.
Then they go on this crazy run. They turn everything around. Now they have 6 or 7. And not only do they have a large number of players in the squad, it's the core, it's like the spine, it's the heartbeat of the New South Wales side. So, firstly, massive congratulations to Panthers as a club. What they've done over the last few years has been nothing short of amazing. And I agree. I think I really like having a core from a specific club. I think Queensland did it really well with the Melbourne Storm through the dominant period. I'm sure they took a lot of systems and, all of that kind of stuff from Melbourne. Was that something that you did?
Yeah, absolutely. And number one golfer, he hit the nail on the head. It's particularly for this game too, short preparation. Like bringing in someone like an Api Coruscant, like it's seamless. It's seamless. Like he lives and works with these guys nearly every day of his life for the past whatever handful of years at Penrith. So they know the ins and outs. It's ready-made combinations. They don't need to go in there and sit in there in the first couple of days of camp, sit down, have meetings. Okay, how are we going to play? Oh, this is what I like to do. This is what I like to do. Oh, when I do this, what do you want to do? They don't need to do it. They just jump in, and Cleary, Coruscant, Yeo, and Luai, they get their soldiers around them and say, "Hey, boys, just do this for us. Do this for us, and we'll take care of the rest."
Yeah.
So Garrett, how are you going to counter that? That's going to be pretty hard to counter, isn't it?
Well, the beauty of Origin is you're playing against guys that you play against nearly every week. So the players involved with the Queensland footy side, they've played against the Panthers, but the great thing about Origin is now that those guys that have come in to play for Queensland, they're playing with and alongside all the elite players from the other teams as well. Okay, so the most important thing for them is their preparation this week. Okay, and we've touched on that in the show already about preparing for the opposition, making sure that they're on defensively, particularly now with Coruscant going into that dummy half role, and the combination he shares with Yeo and Cleary in particular. So as long as they have their wits about them and they've got their awareness and they're doing all the things that they've tried to implement during the week and the things that they've worked on, they'll be okay. But at some stage, they're going to be asked some difficult questions by those players we just mentioned, and they're going to have to turn up and come up with the answers. That's a good question,
anyway,
number one golfer.
I'm out at the golf course now, so my playing partners are waiting for me to get off the phone, so I better head off to the golf course.
Oh, righto. Yeah. Before we let you go, are you using the TP5, the tailor-made ball?
TP5 are the great balls. I do use them. I love them.
Good man.
Mate,
good man. Great to see you on board. Tailor-made.
Thanks so much for calling, mate. Really appreciate it.
Thanks.
There he is, the number one golfer. The number one golfer in the country. I will also just add quickly, although agree with everything you just said, the Penrith spine, really important to have together. It's going to be really easy to work together.
Yep.
I will say, though, that Penrith game specifically, their game plan relies so heavily on Leota and Fisher Harris.
Oh, yeah.
And they play a very specific role in the go forward. And it sounds like, and of course the front rowers do. But I'm like, no. When you actually watch Penrith games, they play a uniquely specific role.
That's right.
For the Penrith Panthers. So that's where it's going to be interesting to see. Jake Trbojevic and Payne, they're not as explosive off the mark as, say, a Fisher Harris or a Leota. So it's going to be interesting to see how they adjust to that. Now, we've got another caller here. Adam from Ryde. You there, Adam?
Yeah, guys, I'm here. How are we?
Yeah, going good, mate. Yourself?
Oh, good. Thank you for asking. I just wanted to have a quick chat about the women's game at the moment. So you've got at the end, start of this year, you had the 6 rounds, and it was the best the comp's ever been. Viewership, it was fantastic. Now, where do you guys think they should be playing the game? Should it be at the start of the year, the end of the year, somewhere in the middle? I just want to get your thoughts.
Yeah, look, it's a really interesting one. You'd have to look at, the stats. Basically, what I would be looking at is, first of all, you've got to speak to the women and be like, what works well for you? But then also I'd be sitting, okay, where can we get the most exposure for these girls? Now, some would make the argument, play them in the off-season because people are dying for footy. The problem with that is it's summer, it's hot as anything. You don't want the girls playing in that crazy heat.
Yep.
So I would be looking in season and trying to find pockets where the most exposure can be given to the women, because that's what we need right now. We need more people exposed to the game to go, first of all, say, look, far out, how far have the girls come in such a short time? But also to begin to build connections to their specific club, players, because I think this next generation of fan, although they do support clubs very strongly and passionately, they're also becoming player supporters. And like Kalen Ponga is a perfect example. Mm-hmm. I feel like if Kalen Ponga left the Knights, there would be Knights fans that would say, wherever he goes, I will support. And I think that building those relationships up with a lot of the girls is a smart way it's like a quick fire way to build a passionate fan base. So that's the way I'd be kind of looking at it.
Yeah. I think play it in line with the men's season for whatever portion it takes up.
Yeah.
We've got some new clubs coming into the competition soon, which is great. It's expanding. We get to see some new faces in the game and new clubs represented. I just think, line it up. And if you can match up at least one team with the men's side as well, take them as the pre-game, like the curtain raiser.
Yeah, because we don't have a national reserve grade.
No, that's gone.
Yeah.
So sorry, Adam.
Yeah, no, it's all good. No, I love that idea. You try and match up the women's game with the men's game as a curtain raiser. It's just the only problem is you want to get as many eyeballs watching the game as possible. Now, on a Saturday at 7:30, you've got the main game. You at 5:30 of the women's game, but you'll also have the 5:30 game on a Saturday with the men's. So you need to try and get as many eyeballs, I think, viewing.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because, do you build up that base that goes to the game? How important is that to you? Because if you go, all right, if we put ourselves before a first grade game, a men's game, there's more chance of people coming down to the game and watching it. And I feel like that connection, that visceral kind of being there, you may actually have a deeper connection to that team.
Yeah, the live audience rather than the TV audience.
Yeah, so you got to, I guess, weigh that up as to what's better. But you're right, mate. It's a lot of tough questions. They've just come so far, so quickly, the women. So massive congratulations to them.
The great thing about it, Adam, is that it's on the up. And it has been now year on year. So it's continuing to grow. Like you speak to the women players in the NRLW, like they've just spoken how it's grown so much from when they first started. Particularly like the guys that the women that have been involved now for several years, from where it's come from to where it is now, it's just in a much better place. So as long as we're continuing to look to grow the women's game, I think that's the most important thing.
Oh, yeah, 100% agree with you guys. Like, at the start of the year, it's the first time I've watched it, and I'm a stuck-on viewer now for the women's game, and I'm excited for the end of the year. So, thanks for your thoughts, boys.
Good on you, mate.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate it. That's Adam from Ride. Thanks for calling in, mate. Really do appreciate it. Now, let's get into some previews. We've got Samoa versus the Cook Islands. Now, Samoa's team is stacked. When you look at it, you go, wow. Charlie Staines at fullback. Taylor May on one wing. Isaac Tango, his centre pairing. You got Spencer Linu. He'll also make his international debut. Then you've got Schuster, Martin Tapau, Francis Molo, Jaden Sewer, all form the forward pack. And then you've got Milford, Harris Tavita in the halves. I mean, this is a real opportunity for Samoa to go, in Cook Islands, they've still got a ways to go to develop as a rugby league nation. They've got some names in there, don't get me wrong, but it is a real opportunity for Samoa to go, see everything that Tonga is achieving, we absolutely can do that too.
Yep. And this is the first of the doubleheader games played at Campbelltown on Saturday. Is it, looking at some of these names, is every Penrith player playing football this weekend?
Mate, they put up a post of like all their players, and I think it was like 20 or like 25 players. So
that's nearly everyone.
Crazy amount. Actually, you know what? I'll get it up as...
So that's just again a reflection of their dominance of the NRL and how good they're going. But again, this will be another really strong game of football. Some great players involved.
21 players from the Panthers. 21.
There you go.
Wow.
There you go. At a squad of what? 30? Is it 30? Is that right?
Yeah, about 30.
So those guys left over, they're probably really young guys.
Yeah.
Sort of 18, 19-year-olds.
If you're not in that group, you're stoked because you're like, no training.
And I'll tell you what, those 18, 19, they're probably playing in the under 19s tonight.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Far out.
That's ridiculous. But, look, this will be a great game of footy. I think looking at the lineup, Samoa, they're just going to be a little bit too strong for Cook Islands. But great to see Cook Islands involved in the rep round this weekend. But what about the next one? Kummels and the Fiji Bati.
Oh, stop it. Talk about explosive matchup.
I remember playing in my international career and having to come up against PNG and Fiji. Oh, mate.
Saw the next day or what?
Not many guys are putting their hand up to carry the footy.
Oh, mate.
Let's put it that way.
Mate, I did.
It's like tip on. I don't want to get tackled.
I didn't put my hand up at the best of times. You would have had me for one run, 10 metres against the Corners. Seriously.
And that's off a kick return.
That's off a kick
so
return.
You had a free 10 metres.
And I would have just crabbed across side field and then surrendered. And I would have said, boys, I'm getting to the middle of the field. I'm not being selfish and trying to get breaks down the edges.
Team thing.
Exactly.
I'm doing the team thing.
Exactly. Look, I cannot wait for this. We talk about first 20 minutes being electric.
Mm-hmm.
It is going to be electric between PNG and Fiji. Now, PNG actually, Mead announced today that it will be his last game for PNG this weekend.
Really?
Yeah. Watched on his Instagram. Give him a follow, David Mead. Mate, his story is absolutely amazing coming from PNG. But players to watch, and just quickly before we move from Cook Islands, players to watch with rookies, and I only say this because obviously being a Broncos fan, Brendan Paycora and Xavier Willison, these are two very, very good young forwards. Then they're the forwards of next year, they could be anything they want to be. So watch them. But just back to the PNG, Fiji, I can't wait to see Olam run out. Olam is the guy I can't wait to see run out.
And watch him when he runs out. He will let out an almighty, like, I don't know if you call it a scream or a roar, whatever. But he goes all out.
Yes, how good.
Every time he plays, he goes all out. But particularly when he's representing his nation of PNG, he'll be up for a huge one. He's taken on his teammate Tui Kamika.
Well, mate, listen to this Fiji side. You got Ravalawa, Semi Valame, Wanga Blake,
it's a good
Maker
side,
Sivo, Kevin Nangama, Kamakamika, Kikau, Milne, Lumi, and then Kevin Naguamu will captain it.
Mate, that's a good footy side.
It's a great footy side. So, look, let's do a quick picks before we go to a break. Samoa versus Cook Islands.
Samoa. I think Samoa just going to be a bit too strong there.
Yeah, I think Samoa a bit too strong. PNG versus Fiji.
This is going to be a really good game of footy. I think Fiji just giving their finishing ability out wide. I think they may have just a little bit too much sort of ability out wide for the Comals.
I am going to go.
I'm going to back. There's going to be like 400 massive hits.
Oh, mate. But I cannot wait. Honestly,
people are getting ironed out.
I'm going to go PNG because I think Lockie Lamb.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think in the 7 there, he's going to do his job. He's going to do a really good job. So PNG to get the win. We're going to head to a break. After the break, we're going to answer your texts. Also, don't forget, you can call in 1300 01 1170 and we'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to the Captain's Run with Cameron Smith. Text in 0457 736 736. Download us on Apple and Spotify, the Captain's Run. Just hit subscribe and you can listen to us anytime, anywhere, or you can download the SEN app. But we've got some texts here. Hi, Goats. It's the TP5 Bomber. Questions for you both. If you're picking the Australian team tomorrow, is Josh Adokar named on the wing? Regard, Jed Eastwood. Ooh, that's a good one, Jed.
Wow.
I tell you what, is that a hole in one?
Oh, that's a hole in one. The TP5 Bomber.
Wow.
He's bombed it. What? Bombed it on a par 3 hole in one, or bombed a par 4.
Look,
do you know these golfing terms?
You just spoke a different language. You may as well have spoke Spanish just then because I didn't know what you said.
Ole. Is that Spanish? I think it is. Wow. Do you pick Josh Adokar on the wing? Off the last two weeks, I guess you would. 5 tries, 2 matches.
Look, Smithy, I'm gonna go crazy.
Kemby, this is your area, mate. Mate, you played on the wing. Can you please answer this question?
Okay. I think, obviously, you should. I would have picked Fox in New South Wales.
Yep.
But let's just, for some reason, you want to go youth. I'm just going to throw this out there.
Okay.
Do you rip the Band-Aid off? And if, let's say, To'o does decide to play for Samoa, rip the Band-Aid off, Selwyn Cobbo, Joseph Suwali play for Australia in the wing.
Holy schnitz.
Just get the youngsters in there. Holy schnitz. Remind me like of a young Drow, coming into Origin camp. No one really expected it.
Yep.
And then he played for Australia and he killed it.
Yeah. 2011, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was in the changing room when he got his told that he was playing.
Yep.
And everyone was shocked, not because they didn't think he was up to it.
Yep.
But he was essentially not a rookie-ish.
Yeah, he's a bolter.
Yeah, and he just got selected. And look, Selwyn Cobbo, he has to keep this form up. But imagine a Selwyn Cobbo and Suwali on the sting.
Wow.
I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know if I'd do it.
Yeah. Wow, that'd be. Well, it's a pretty good combo.
How good Suwali?
Two
man.
athletes,
Suwali's scary. His potential. He's 18 years old still.
particularly with him being in he's in these first two camps with the New South Wales side, so he's only going to gain, some knowledge around the elite part of like rugby league.
Yeah.
Being around these players, he's going to be better on his confidence, being around these great players and learning from them, seeing how they prepare and whatnot. I'm not knocking that idea at all. I don't know whether they'll go that way this year, though. Being a World Cup year, though, they take an extended. I think they take about 26 players. Those two guys, they may find themselves in the squad.
I'd bring them into the squad for sure. I just think they're such incredible talents. The earlier you can get them in, the better for the country.
So let's say they pick for the first game for Australia. Okay, I don't know who they're playing in their first pool match, but you pick two sort of elder statesmen, wingers, but then you take a Suwali and a Cobbo, and you give them some game time as the World Cup goes on.
And if injuries happen or whatever, boom, bring them in, good to go. But right now, if I had to select today, I would probably go To'o Adokar.
Yes.
But depends how good Suwali and Cobbo go for the rest of the year. If they just absolutely kill it, I may consider it. Bring the young guys in.
Well, with Brian To'o playing Origin, like he's going to play this entire series. Doesn't that mean he'll be available for the Kangaroos?
He'll be available, but I think you can still play for Samoa in the World Cup.
Okay. Well, surely. Well, if he's fit at the end of the year, he's picked for Kangaroos.
Yeah.
Surely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
No
He's so tough to every time he runs the ball.
Yep.
No matter what.
Yep.
He makes it hard because, as you know, Smithy, defensive systems are all about rhythm. They're all about timing.
Yes.
And when you've got a guy bouncing around constantly,
yes,
it changes everything. It pulls players out of the line that shouldn't have been pulled out of the line. It compresses lineups. It widens line. It's just so tough to deal with.
Yep.
Must be a nightmare coaching against that.
Oh, it's not good. It's pretty much just do your best, boys.
Just do your best. Toto's got the ball.
I don't know what to tell you with technique. Just get in front and do your best.
Mate, he's so good. Now, we've got another text here from Croc Hunter. Croc Hunter.
Oh, the Croc
how
Hunter.
much is the loss of Cotter factor into the forwards' tactical preparation to game 2? The Queensland public right to assume Arrow has to play the best game in 12 months to make it up to supporters. I don't know about that. Is Josh Papali'i going to set the tone for the series?
Well, he's starting, and I think he made a pretty good statement game 1. When he carried that ball back off the first kickoff, Josh Papali'i, straight into Isaiah.
Big Papa.
And bumped him off and knocked him back, 6 feet. So, of course, he's the leader. He's the most experienced player in the Queensland outfit at the moment. Played over 20 matches. So he will most certainly set the tone for this second game too, whether it's his first carry or his first tackle. He'll make his presence felt to the Blues. But as far as Reuben Cotter not being in the side for game 2, we spoke about the impact that he made in game 1. It's just his enormous work rate.
Yeah,
there was 50 odd tackles, and I think he had about 16 hit ups.
Just his lateral movement in defence.
Yeah, and just the little things around, his marker work, his pressure he put on Cleary when he had an opportunity, filling the space, putting pressure on Yo, Luai, these type of things. Everyone needs to share that load.
Yeah,
everyone needs to share that load. Yeah. But Jai Arrow coming in, he's a similar type of player that can play that role. So got a lot of great confidence in Jai that he'll go in and play well. And he knows he has to.
Hey, Smithy and Kempy, what does Nico Hines have to do to make the Blues team? He's been in great form this year and has X Factor. Jesse, Albion Park.
Good question, Jesse. I've probably asked the same question to other people, but I've been pushing his name since the series, before the series started, and we've been talking about Nico and his ability to play as a utility and the value that he brings as a utility. Can play anywhere in the back line, can play a bit of 9 if you need him to, play a bit of 13. It's just unfortunate circumstances that he finds himself not in that 17 due to the game plan, I guess, or the makeup of the way they want to play their football. He just hasn't had an opportunity.
It's almost going to be hard for a player like him to break into a side that has Isaiah Yo. And I say that because he takes a lot of that ball playing
Yes.
off Nathan Cleary.
Yep.
Whereas if you had, say, a Taumalolo 13,
Yep.
you could probably bring in Hines for 20 minutes here or there.
Yeah. And because Yo plays 80.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said. Like he plays that role where he's an extra ball player, runs the ball strong, and plays an entire game of football. I'm guessing that's why Nico's not getting a start. Plus, he can kick goals too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, we've actually got a call here. Mitch from Mackay. You there, Mitch?
How's it going, boys?
Going good, Mitch?
I was just wondering, with Cameron Munster pretty much being a lock for Australia at the end of the year, Jerome Luai probably play for Samoa. I was just wondering, what do you reckon about Samoa's chances of winning the World Cup?
Well, look, to be honest, I think Samoa, when it comes to talent, I think Samoa is equal to Tonga. And Tonga beat Australia last time they played. So I see no reason why they couldn't, especially when you look at their squad. Luai, I guess the concern would be Luai is more of a 6 than a 7. If they are missing someone, it would be maybe a kind of a veteran 7 that could help them steer them around the park. But this is what you do when it comes to developing. You know, like it's going to take a few years to develop that. Even Tonga, it took a few sacrifices from some big players to be able to make that happen. So look, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. But it's going to be tough because when you look at that Tonga, New Zealand, and Australian side, to beat all three sides, it'll be really, really tough. But honestly, I think they're building really nicely, Samoa.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I played against Samoa. Yeah, sorry, mate. Keep going, Mitch.
No, I was just thinking that, if there was any team other than Australia, New Zealand, and England to win it, I'd be putting my money on Samoa just because of the way they play footy, especially at Penrith.
Put it this way, I actually have Samoa and Tonga on paper better than England.
Yeah.
And so that's how much I think that they have progressed as nations.
Yep.
So I just think they've come so far. But I'm just looking at their lineup right now. So at the moment, you've got Harris Tavita and you've got Anthony Milford. So would you be saying that maybe Milford and Luai partner up in the halves? The concern with that is like Milford's not necessarily a structured 7. And then when we go to their 9, Jazz Tavanga is more of a 13, wide running forward, sometimes can play front row. So once they sort that though, like they're absolutely in the running. Like this is a world-class forward pack, and it's a world-class back line.
Yeah, it's 100%. I reckon, their football, they play like type of like backyard footy that should upset any team, I reckon.
Yeah, for sure, mate. Thank you so much for calling, Mitch. Appreciate it.
Cheers, guys.
And they're only going to get stronger
for sure
by these Pacific nations because they're coming out here now as young men. They're getting the exposure to the coaching in Australia, and they're in these NRL systems. So they're only going to be stronger, and it's great for international footy. Makes the World Cup so entertaining.
Absolutely. We're going to head to a break. After the break, we are going to wrap up the text. We're going to get through the more text, and also we're going to wrap up the whole show. Welcome back to the Captain's Run with Cameron Smith. Now, last night we had an international match. We had the great nation of Lebanon versus Malta. And Lebanon got the job done, 30-14. Mate, and you know what? They were so fun to watch in the 9s a few years ago, I think it was.
Yeah, very good.
Very fun to watch. But yeah, huge win for them. And, there are actually quite a few players now in the NRL with Lebanese heritage.
Yep.
You were mentioning that a few years ago you played against the
Yeah, so 2017, played in the World Cup against Lebanon. We played at the Footy Stadium. I think it was our 3rd pool game. So I think kicked off against England. I think it was England. And then we played against France up in Canberra, and then we went to the Footy Stadium and played against Lebanon. We had a good win that night, but we played against guys like Mitch Moses played. Who else was in there? Twoley,
Dewey,
Adam Dewey. Who else was in there? They had a good footy side.
Was Mansour, or is he playing for you?
No, he's with us.
He's with us. Okay,
yeah,
yep.
Source. I think he was with us.
One of the greats,
the
Source.
And who? Yeah, no, he was. Joshy was with us, and I think Freddie was actually the coach.
Wow.
Of Lebanon that night, which was great. It was so good. Like just all the Lebanese supporters come out. I think we had like 20,000 there at the Footy Stadium, which was great. It was a great atmosphere. I played half a game, I think. But Cam Munster played in that. That might was that his first game for Australia?
Was it 2017?
Yeah.
Probably, because that's when he's...
But was it that one, or did he play against France? I can't remember, but I think he played like in the centres or something, scored a couple of tries.
Yeah,
like
good. Yeah, good.
Money being money. But yeah, good game last night. Good game of footy. Lebanon. Some great footy players playing for Lebanon.
They're building something good there, for sure. Again, the Nines, they played really well. They exceeded expectation, and I think Freddie took over a few years ago around the World Cup, and he said he absolutely loved it when he was talking about it. So massive congratulations to Lebanon for getting the win. We're going to head to a break. After the break, we're going to wrap up the show. Welcome back to the Captain's Run. Thank you so much to everyone that listened. Make sure to download the podcast and the SCN app. But also you can follow us on Apple and Spotify. The Captain's Run, hit subscribe, listen to it anytime. Final thoughts for Sunday's game, Smithy?
Oh, it's a big one, Kempy. Big one. Still relaxed, though. Still a few days out.
Yep.
Just about to head up to the airport. Going to go jump on the plane to head over to the west. Nice little 5-hour trip, I think it is. So the boys are relaxed. It's their day off. Got a little bit of work tomorrow. Captain's Run Saturday and then into the game. Going off, the feeling around camp, they're confident again.
Yeah.
But we know that it's going to be a much more difficult game than what it was in game one. But this group, they're up for it. This Queensland group, they're up for it. They're excited. They've created a great opportunity for himself, and let's hope that next week we're talking about the Queenslanders wrapping up the series.
Thanks for listening, everyone, and we will see you next week.
Catch you next week.